Good evening, my name is Steve Pereira. Welcome to Quedia on Ben TV, where we explore all things art and culture. Tonight we have the second part of our interview with author and well-known Australian drag personality Skye High, talking about a recently released and soon-to-be best-selling biography, From Darkness to Diva. Buy it now before it sells out. Welcome back, Skye. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me back.
And how's the book going so far?
You know what, the book's doing very, very well. The international sales are doing extremely well, so it's good to get the message out there, and that's the intended purpose of the book.
Let's go back to the purpose of the book. So what was it? Was it cathartic? Was it sort of a release?
You know what, to delve back inside myself and to have to relive the memories that I did of certainly growing up, primary school, high school, you know, and not dissimilar to many people being beaten up every single day of my life because I had a difference that I didn't know about. You know, to relive that. And I hope that I've done the book justice in terms of when the reader or the person reading, I hope they're feeling exactly how I felt at that moment in time.
I was going to read a comment, certainly my own reflections on it, was it's brutal, it's hard, it's honest, but it's very direct. And it's also, and in context, where people say it's very Australian. Do you feel you've got a particular Australian story to tell?
I think I have a particularly human story to tell. You know, the surrounds, yes. I talk about being in Australia and what it's like, gay life in Australia. But I don't believe it's necessarily Australian as such. I think that the story is more broader than that.
I just want to talk about something that was really personal in the book, which is about the trauma of the deaths of your parents. Now, and it's an extraordinary chapter to read in the book, and people should read that. But just the brief details was your parents died within a week of each other.
In the same week.
In the same week. Do you want to just talk us through the details of that?
I think, again, I come back to wanting to write the book and express how I was feeling. So when the reader's reading it, they knew how I was feeling. For me, I didn't know either of my parents was unwell or ill.
Because you were in New South Wales at that time.
I was living in Sydney at that time. So whilst I'd have the telephone conversations with my mum, and I talk about the relationship that I had with my parents, both my mum and my dad was quite stagnant even at that time. I received a call one night on a Tuesday night to say that my mother had been taken to, she was in hospital. And I was, as you can imagine, distressed and concerned and very confused as to know why I hadn't been told.
Because your relationship with your mother was quite different to the one with your father. It was...
I think my relationship with my mother, both weren't intact at all. I think that whilst my mother and I went through the initial, you know, the motions of having a conversation, there was no real depth behind the meaning of the words. And I never wanted to give up. You know, I wanted to mend certainly the situation, and I wanted to live my life. You know, I found that I was appeasing them more so than living my own life, so I had to draw the line somewhere.
So were you talking to your father at that point, or were you? Oh.
Not overly. No. He may answer the phone, but in terms of a relationship with my parents, no. No, there was nothing. But that doesn't mean that you don't think about them, and you know the love that I have even to this day for them. It's yeah. So
you're in New South Wales. You get a call to say your mum's not well.
I get a call 2 hours after that to say that she'd passed away.
Sorry, I'm trying to recollect, but you hadn't come to Melbourne by that point?
No. I didn't come back until their funerals. So my mother passed away on the Monday night. My father passed away on the Sunday, the day that I arrived back in Melbourne to go to my mother's funeral. I had my mother's funeral on the Monday and my father's on the Wednesday.
And you were staying at a hotel because you
wasn't welcome to stay with my family, correct. So, you know, the book, it opens up a whole range of feelings, certainly for me, and a lot of the things that I've spoken about, I've obviously dealt with, but there are still people who find themselves in similar situations, you know.
I know, but so, it's the trauma of it, and just to share, because you also then go back to New South Wales, only to discover that Was that trip? Or?
No, it was a bit.
It was a bit
later.
I'm conflating all of the
One of the
trauma together.
The guys that I had lived with, who actually introduced me to this wonderful world of drag. He and I had decided to go and live in Sydney because it was the gay capital of Australia, and we wanted to explore ourselves and our identities. And it was several years after that I.
Oh, right, okay, sorry. In my mind, it conflated into one because,
no, not that much tragedy going on at one time.
There was enough to go around. So anyway, you went back to Sydney and this guy had emptied your apartment.
Pretty much, cleaned me out. So a friend that I had known for just over 10 years, and spent my life of 10 years with, for whatever reason, I speculate in the book why I believe that happened. But to walk into your apartment and find that you have absolutely no furniture in your house, and we weren't in a relationship. There was certainly nothing sexual about our connection, but we had built a life together.
Absolutely. That's a betrayal.
Absolutely.
That's a betrayal.
And that's something that I found very, very difficult to come to terms with.
So if for some people reading the book now, and certainly for young people out there today, even though the landscape's changed, still it hasn't changed enough. What's your message to the people out there today? Particularly if they want to be someone like yourself, someone who's out there.
You know what, I think first off, you need to want to live true to yourself. You need to sit down and actually work out where that line is that you want to keep people happy, but you want to be who you are. The message is simple. It's about being true to yourself and, overcoming adversity, and we all have bad things happen to us in life. But it's how we overcome that and indeed the wonderful places that we end up once we work through that.
But what specifically can you tell people about how to overcome that? I mean, it's good to tell people to overcome it, but how? You know what,
there's no quick fix, obviously. Everyone does it in their own way. I can say, yes, give yourself positive affirmation and surround yourself with loving and generous people. That worked for me. That doesn't necessarily work for everybody. So whilst I can only talk about my experience in the book, I don't have a magic cure or a quick fix for people to be who they are.
But I think that's the answer in itself, is that there is no quick fix.
No.
And you're going to have to deal with it one situation at a time, every day at a time.
That's the point. You have to deal with it. At some point you have to keep going through life. You can't take the easy way out. You need to be a survivor.
Thank you so much. That is a profound message and a very true message. Thank you, Skye, for being with us. Stay tuned for soon the stage musical, followed by the movie Off, From Darkness to Diva by Skye High. You've been watching Steve Pereira on Ben TV. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night.